Good afternoon and welcome to Bull Market Stock Show. This is your host Rian Opson, and we're doing actually today's show, which are going actually regarding the inflation news that will be. Excuse me for my mic. Which will go regarding the inflation news, and look, it will be actually quite a bumper ride for this week. Well, we will have a special guest on, which will be Kobus Kemp, and he will join us later on with some more information regarding the markets today, which is actually quite a bit of a story. I was looking at 1 minute, I was looking at the oil stocks, and then the next moment I came back, and then everything went upside down. I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you with some more information on on my charts, and then also on the inflation news that we expect about this week, and then we will see Kobus Kemp later on with his analysis on the market, and believe me, we will have quite a show today.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Bull Market Stock Show, and we will actually do the inflation news. Well, this morning inflation news came out of China and it was about 1%, but that didn't actually create the sell-off. Honestly speaking, I do expect it is to do with the non-farmers payrolls that was on Friday, but that is just my suspicion. But there is actually inflation news that will come out of the United States, and that will be on Wednesday. Now, on Wednesday at about 2:30, the US inflation number will come out, and that will be the big decider. Will the Federal Reserve start to taper? Will they start to lift up the interest rates? And that will be actually the big question mark. So if the Federal Reserve, if the inflation number is a bit sticky, and which I do expect it will be a bit sticky, because there was a bit of a wage pressure that came through on the non-farmers payrolls on Friday. And normally the wages do make actually the inflation numbers to be sticky, especially your CPI number and your PPI number. Now, honestly speaking, with inflation news out of China this morning, the CPI number came out a bit higher than was expected. There was a 0.8 in the CPI number that was forecast, and then it came out at about 1%. Now, they did expect that the numbers will start to drop, as they say inflation is transitory, but it looks like that is not the case. Even also, if you look at the PPI number out of China, it was expected at about 8.8%, and the numbers came out actually 9%. So normally your PPI number push over to your CPI number, and that is actually where the big conundrum is. So please do drop your comments, do drop all your questions that you do have. Kobus Kemp will be later on with us, so please drop your questions so that we can answer them. It will be nice if you drop them even now, and then Kobus can maybe answer them as we go with the show. Now, also there's a link in the description, so please do click on a link if you want a free account. Register on the link if you actually want to deposit money. Minimum is $250, and then we will give you free classes. Also, we will look at some things that I actually was coming out. One, I will actually go to my charts, but there is actually some tensions that I picked up over the weekend. There's actually some tensions in the Middle East between actually Iran and also and Israel. So obviously those type of tensions normally lead to higher oil prices. But as things stands now, although the media is not paying attention to this whole conundrum, I don't know why, but it is a bit doubtful, and that can actually push up the oil price if things do get out of hand. Look, you must remember, 2 people did die on this boat, and there was an attack from Iran, allegedly from Iran, on this oil tanker, and that happened actually, I think it was on Friday or on Thursday, and then the media was actually just numb actually on this whole entire story. So I don't know if the media tries to hold the story down, or will it affect the oil price and all of those things? I'm just not sure. But please do be on the lookout for that news. But for this week, believe me, it will be all about the US inflation. It will be about the dollar. It will be about the oil price. But without further ado, I will just take actually a short break, and then I will come back to you with the one and only Kobus Kemp. So please stay tuned. I will just take a short break, and then I'll be back with you.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
All right, without further ado and without actually leaving any stone unturned, please do welcome Kobus Kemp. Kobus, how are you?
Fine, and you, Ren? Are you well?
I'm good. It's just a bit chilly here, but I'm surviving. How's the markets?
Markets. What shall we do? Always a question of what the market is going to do. Then we get the surprises, and then we think what's going to happen next, and then the total opposite happens. So we just have to take it one trade and one day at a time, I guess.
I agree with you. But we're living actually in very strange times, especially with the job numbers news on Friday. Please, if you can, just help us out with the dollar index. That one was totally a surprise. Please give us some heads up on the dollar index.
It was a surprise, man, but I still think it is premature. I think it's optimism. The way I look at the dollar at this stage is every time the Fed speaks, you can see at the end, the beginning of June, and we saw it yesterday or Friday with those numbers as well. Just bullishness comes in, and I think it's premature. I think it's optimism. I still see a dollar bear coming through and end the cycle. I'm not going to be a dollar bull unless the Fed changes their monetary policies. I must be honest with you. I think this drill is still ongoing. It's just a temporary pullback.
So do you think that maybe after, say, maybe on Wednesday, that inflation is a bit heavy? Do you think they will start to taper or talk about tapering?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, they predict or tell us what they're going to do. Obviously, they said they're going to only increase rates in 2023, I think. I think that is too late. If those inflation numbers do go higher, they should get in either tapering or increase rates. But so, if rate only increases in 2 years' time, the only other thing is tapering. That's it.
Yep, and that I agree with you. On the other thing, obviously, if the dollar reacts so strangely, what is your expectations on gold, actually? Because gold got actually a hammering. It's about, I think it's still about 1% down.
It got major hammered. It was a big surprise. I mean, gold stocks, every gold stock is in trouble. But like I said, I think it's premature. I still see much more upside for gold. I think it's a good thing. I'm looking at 1,500, as low as 1,500, and then I'll be a buyer around those levels. And I'm going to be a dollar or a gold bull rather. I'm not bearish on gold yet.
Okay, but 1,500 is actually quite a long way to go. So maybe on the crystal ball, when do you think we will see maybe a 1,500 on gold?
All right, let's look at this. I don't know if you can see this the charts, Rand, but let's go to gold. I don't know if
I can see them.
All right.
Right. Make them a bit bigger.
Gonna zoom out a bit. All right. So, bullish above 1440. My target area is this 1,500, 1,600. I know it's a big area. I'm gonna highlight it for you. Something like that area. That is where I'm looking to get bullish on gold. Obviously, it will be in line with the dollar index. if those dollar indexes go to the highs or the correction is complete, obviously dollar bearishness, then I'll get gold bullish.
Aha. Okay, again, and maybe on simple time frames there, or maybe on months time, do you think maybe it looks possible that we might get a bit of bearish in the gold market, maybe September, October, maybe?
Yeah, well, I mean, the reaction from Friday, I already see this as a bearish gold scenario. I think we're already there. If we take out this 1670 area, the next stop, I believe it's 1500 for gold. But we have to get below 1650 for that to complete. Obviously, some levels need to break to confirm my analysis. But yes, I see gold now going lower onto those levels, and then only.
To look for a buy after that.
After that 1500 area is a good spot for me to get bullish there. I can't say when it's in a month's time, 2 months' time, but that is what the charts are saying.
Okay, perfect. And then the big one is Bitcoin. Look, everybody is asking about Bitcoin, and somehow it actually got about over 40,000 against the US dollar. And look, some say Bitcoin will go to 100,000, others say 500,000. Please just give some heads up there on Bitcoin, or where will it go?
I also see Bitcoin going to at least $100,000, Rayon. I want to be a buyer above 20,000. Again, that is where the last high was back in 2017. Right. We came back. I mean, we came back to $4,000 on Bitcoin in 2019, 18. So this whole decline, I feel, is still part of the bigger decline. I'm looking at this $20,000, $20,000 to $30,000. I want to be a buyer Bitcoin, and I do see it much go higher, yeah, into $120,000. That's my opinion.
Oh, okay. Look, there was actually some scenarios also that Bitcoin might go down to 20,000, and then it will maybe sit there, and then it will go up. Do you think also that scenario is likely?
Yes. Now, the whole thing about sentiment is, now it's actually a joke. When your golf buddies and your hairdresser talks about a specific instrument, it's time to go out. It is like that. We saw it in 2017. I went to the golf club, and everybody knows that I'm a trader. So that was about $15,000 to $16,000. And when I heard the conversations, and I said, you know what, everybody's talking about Bitcoin. Get out, close the positions. And I actually said, buy back at $5,000, and they laughed at me. Said it will never get there. So yes, I do feel this $20,000 to $30,000 is an area to get back into Bitcoin. Usually the market breaks out, come back to the same levels. And funny enough, we must understand that of fundamentals as well. Usually the price comes back to where the fundamental was, that specific price. And I feel that $20,000 high in 2017 will be some kind of short-term bottom for Bitcoin, and then we'll take out the highs at 65,000.
All right, perfect. Look, I will definitely keep my fingers crossed for Bitcoin. And obviously we know now if the hairdresser is talking about it, then look, rather wait for it. Good one there, Kobus.
Yep.
All right, and then we have our last one for today. Look, this is now everybody's favorite, which is the NASDAQ. You know, everybody likes to jump on the NASDAQ. But what do you think on the NASDAQ, and maybe for this week? Because on my speculation, okay, I would say actually speculation, is that the bond yields and the NASDAQ is going a bit inverse. But on the technical side, what do you think about the NASDAQ? Please, everybody, leave your comments. We will see if you can answer all your questions. Please draw Kobus' brain. We have him here. Make use of it.
All right, so I'm going to bring these two charts up to next to each other. First thing, what kind of market we are in, Rand? We are in a bullish market. You don't mess with a trend. We know when they started back in 2020 with the Fed, we can see here on the left-hand side of the chart, it just rallied aggressively. I'm still bullish on all of equities, but looking at the US government bond yields, we are putting in a short-term bottom here, where we did not get that aggressiveness on the NASDAQ. So this is to going, for me, this is more upside on US government bonds, and I will just look for a small pullback on the NASDAQ, and then I'm looking for much more upside. I'm not going to get bearish on stocks as yet.
That is actually, I actually didn't expect it. Do you think it's actually safe for the bond yields to reach about 2% and the NASDAQ also a bit bullish?
But bullish, yes. But if this is finding on the bottom, there's always a delay in these markets. So let's look at the closest support on, let's go to NASDAQ. Let's see where the first support is, and let's try to make sense about this chart. So obviously, again, the first thing that I look at, where was the breakout level? That was by 14,000. And the higher support here on NASDAQ is 14,475. So correct. Is this time that we're going to get pulled back into this 14,475, maybe 14,000 area where this bond yields go up? So that makes sense. And from there, obviously, it will turn and just go higher again. I believe just stay bullish with the trend. No time to panic now. If you're in this trade and the government bond yield starts to rally, maybe take some money off and wait for it, and then just buy with pullbacks.
Perfect, Kobus. Some magic stick or magic wand theory that you have for today when the US session is opening?
Depending on what you're looking at, what kind of trader are you trading indices, or are you trading stocks? But I'm going to tell you what I'm looking for today. I'm just going to give it time. Usually I give the market time on a Monday to find its feet, let the buyers and sellers come in, and usually on Tuesday you can just get a direction and get in for the rest of the week. So I'm very versigtig to get into on a Monday. Always versigtig. We were lucky that we stayed out of the market. Let me just go to the euro here. I'm actually looking, let's look at currencies quickly. What I am looking at, I'm looking to buy pullbacks on the dollar Swiss. I'm looking for more upside, and this is highly correlated with the dollar index as well. We have to understand when we look at the dollar index, it's not usually what the dollar is doing, because it's 50%, 57% weighted on the euro. So if you use the FXCM dollar index, it's much more evenly weighted. But let's look at the dollar Swiss. I'm looking to buy while this low at 89.24 is holding. Any pullback here, I'll be a buyer, and I will still see the dollar Swiss to test that resistance levels at 94.60 to 96 area. That is my next trade for this week. Dollar Swiss higher.
Oh, awesome. Kobus, thanks a lot. We must definitely do this again. I will definitely pick you. Actually give some bit relief for me with the oil price that we're hammering with this morning. But we must definitely do this again.
Yes, thanks a lot. Thanks for the invite. My pleasure. We can do this at any time.
All right. Thanks a lot, Kobus. Lovely day. And I will see you actually again, maybe this week after that inflation news. Yes.
Let's see what happens. All right, my friend. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi, people. That was Kobus Kemp with amazing analysis, especially when it gets to gold. And honestly speaking, we're looking at, from my side, look, we're sitting on gold, and honestly, with the US dollar that was performing so well on Friday, and we might see actually a reaction on the inflation news on Wednesday. So please, you have to be careful with the markets today until Wednesday. But that is it from my side. Please, you can subscribe on the link below, register for an account, and then please let me know when you are finished with the registration, fund the account, and I will give your classes absolutely free. So that is it from my side for today. Thanks a lot for Kobus, and please, I will make sure he will be back on again so that we can have some more market analysis from his side. That's all from my side. Have a lovely Monday, and then I will see you guys tomorrow again at 1 o'clock. Bye-bye.